iWahine Talk Show, episode number 5. I'm Awhimai Reynolds, founder of iWahine, and each week I share with you powerful messages and interviews that will leave you inspired and ready to get your mana wahine on. So wahine are changing the world, and we are redefining leadership, changing the way we do business, and tapping into our feminine power. Before I get started with our guests, I'd like to remind you about our iWahine Leadership Hui, which is on the 25th and the 26th of October here in Wellington. So if you want to find more about it, you go on to the iwahine.nz/leadership website. You can download a copy of the program and everything else that's on there. So it's going to be absolutely fabulous. So let's get on with our show. I have with me today Heidi Renata no Ngapuhi. She's a go-getting businesswoman and community leader with 15 years experience in telecommunications working across various industries. She's also the Deputy Chair of the Malcolm Charitable Trust and a board member of Kuma, and that's the Southern Maori Business Network. Last year, Heidi established a new smart business hub and co-working space called Innovate HQ in Dunedin. I don't know about you, but I'm really interested in finding out about how a Ngapuhi woman from the north ends up running businesses in the south. So let's ask her. Kia ora, Heidi.
Kia ora, Awhimai, and kia ora koutou to our virtual network of wahine, inspiring wahine out there. Firstly, thank you so much for the invitation to speak with you today, and hopefully shed some insights and feedback that will present some opportunities for the wahine listening in. So just in advance, I was of Ngapuhi descent. My father was from the north and my mother is from Milton, just south of here. So that's what's brought this northern girl to the south. I was born and raised in the south. So I've got 4 brothers, 2 either side. So you could call me, albeit the middle child. So brought up in a family of 5. I've got 4 brothers, 2 either side. So you could call me, albeit the middle child. So brought up in a family. So it's good. Sorry, I just got that feedback there, Awhimai. And so I have spent the last, I'm 41, I'm 42 in October, so still consider myself a reasonable spring chicken, although the body doesn't all.
You are
I've been spring chicken. I've been back in Dunedin now for the last 7 years, and as you've highlighted, I spent a good period of my career working for in telecommunications, working for Vodafone New Zealand. So my tenure with them was 13 years, working predominantly at head office, looking after the alliance partnership channels, and then in the most recent years with looking after enterprise for the Lower South Island. One of the reasons that I got into this business was based around the fact that I could see with the exponential technology and the rapid growth, the impact that was having to community. We needed to create resources that could assist the businesses through all this transition and this rapid transition of technology and how it was impacting us. And I came across this wonderful concept, which is collaborative workspaces or co-working spaces, which are established all around the world. They're multi-billion-dollar enterprises. The largest co-working network is WeWork, and they have multiple hubs all around the world. And I guess, in essence, the one thing I love about them is they resonate with me from a Maori perspective because they're like a business marae. So for me, one of the key differentiators when I decided to go into doing this, it was to create a business marae environment. So, go above and beyond what a normal office environment would sort of involve, and set up Innovate HQ. So we're about to celebrate our first birthday. So on the October the 14th of 2017, we're about to celebrate our first year anniversary, which really excited. Hard to believe. It's been an absolutely massive year. But needless to say, really pleased to be here. We have just, we've had an outstanding year. We've had over 11,000 people through the space with over 55 events, and we've got another 10 scheduled before the end of the year. So no rest for the wicked. I'm really lucky to be surrounded by, a supportive team. I've got 3 interns that are working with me now.
Awesome.
We've got a yeah, we've got a chief people pleaser, aka my community manager, who looks after all of our residents. We have a hostess with the mostess, who is Destiny Potama. She looks after all our events, externals. And then I've got Wakina Tajuba, who is Ethiopian.
Nice.
And he has come to me pretty much as my shadow.
Nice.
Yeah, so we've got them for the remainder of the year. So we've got a lot of stuff.
Well, congratulations for your first year, coming up to your first anniversary. Well done, you. So can I ask you, Heidi, over the almost 12 months, looking back, 11 months, what has been the biggest challenge for you as a Māori woman setting up a business in Dunedin?
The biggest challenge, I think, and this probably resonates in anything, when you decide to do something like this, you've got to make sure you've got the energy and love for it. So I've had a fairly massive year, both on a personal and obviously at a professional level. And, you know, when the going gets tough, I think the biggest thing it's who you surround yourself with. So who fills your energy tank. So yeah, first and foremost, it's one of those things, and especially in an environment like this, I don't know if it's relative to being female, although it is fairly male. It is fairly male dominated. We do have a fairly male dominated environment. I think from my side, because I've grown up with 4 brothers, I don't sort of look at it that way. I probably look at it more. I'm a bit more ballsy, and so I can play with the boys as well, which is fantastic. So there's a bit of mongrel work, I guess you could say, that I've got in me to keep going. But the biggest thing would really be the energy, the amount of energy it goes into doing a business like this. I mean, I get asked frequently as to what it takes to run a business like this. Now, it's, for some, they'll probably look at it as a serviced office. It's not. It's a collaborative workspace. It's inspiring the cross-pollination of skills and experience within your community. And as we've mentioned in the past, 2 of my founding values is around manaakitanga and whanaungiitanga. So respecting everybody for their unique individuality and creativity, and also making people feel like part of the whānau. So as you know, albeit as a parent, auntie, family member, it takes a lot of effort to lead that type of environment. And I guess if we go back to our roots and how our tribes basically, work and operate, it's, you've got to have a strong leader and someone that has, I guess, the drive and ambition to take things forward, and the energy to keep going. So hopefully in a roundabout way that sort of explains, for me, the biggest challenge is just making sure that I keep going and yeah.
So do you think that as a Māori woman running, you're probably one of the first, are you the first Māori woman ever to run a co-sharing office space? So yeah. What do you think is different about the way? I mean, I know you mentioned a couple of things. You see it as similar to a marae in that community space for business. What else do you think is different?
I think for me, one of the biggest things is for a lot of these co-working spaces, there is a mentality around bums on seats. For me, it's not about that. It's establishing. We become curators of the space. So for me, it's being able to attract like-minded people, and that's a skill that's required. It's not something that I guess anyone can do. I guess I've had the luxury of being a natural networker, as we talked about recently. I love talking, and I love so try and switch me off. But I also love understanding how people work and what they need. And I guess one of the things that, I was the chatterbox at school. I wasn't the academic. I was a sports person and the chatterbox at school. So I knew at an early age I wanted to do something that allowed me to socialise. And I guess in an environment like this, having that ability to socialise has become a critical differentiator to why this is becoming so successful, because it's having that authentic interest in, I guess, what we can bring to our community. So again, I guess for me, I know I'm probably I'm full of energy. So it's a big thing. I try to keep an optimistic and a positive view, but I also like to keep a realistic view as well. So I think, as you appreciate, one of the things about running a business is being honest with yourself and being able to focus on your strengths and hone into those, and where you've got a weakness, either develop it or bring someone in who can do it for you.
Yeah, yeah, so true. So first year in business too, that for most people starting out in business, there's often a huge, not just a learning curve, but also a huge investment, not just of time, but also of resources, of investment, of dollars to get, especially you've got a physical space. I don't need to know the detail of the numbers, but how did you go about funding that, the setup costs? How did you do that? Did you have a huge bank balance? Did you have investors? How did you go about that?
In all honesty, it was probably my determination and ambition that got me to this point. I wouldn't say I was, I had a few thousand in the bank. The luxury I had was I have an amazing brother, my oldest brother, Steve, who's also the co-owner of the space and the director. He is my chief financier. So when he saw my ambition to do this, he decided to back me. So the other luxury with this is we are fully 100% privately funded, which is fantastic. So it's totally whānau funded. With any sort of space like this, I'm happy to share with you. This facility is worth just $500,000. So everything we've put into it, there's over $350,000 worth of furniture that's based in here. One of the things we wanted to achieve is, I'm a great believer, and I remember my dad said to me, if you don't do a job properly, don't do it at all. So one of the things that we wanted to achieve in here was create a state-of-the-art facility that people could be proud to work from. So being able to bring in one of the key focuses over the last 2 years, because for me this hasn't just been a one-year project, this has been a year in preparation. It was obviously a 5-year plan, and we launched within the last 2 years, so it's been amazing. But the focus I had was it's not all about just asking for money. In most cases, it's being able to establish strategic partnerships that want to share the same vision as you. So I have a number of wonderful partnerships with our furniture designers, architects that design this. And also I'm lucky to have a landlord that supports my ambition and vision. So he's super excited. We've already received 2 awards, and we've also recently been nominated for the New Zealand Innovation Awards. So we find out actually over the next few days as to whether or not we were successful, and if we do, we head to Auckland next month.
Wow. Oh, that's exciting. New Zealand Innovation Award. So that's New Zealand wide. Well done. It sounds like you see it as you've used the concept of whānau in your business. What are the sorts of businesses that are attracted to being a part, to coming along and sharing in the co-sharing space? Is there a sort of a profile, or are they varied? What sort of businesses are attracted to it?
Yeah, so we've got a mixture. So at the moment we have 17 different businesses that operate out of here. 20% of our operation focuses around startups and doing things in the charitable space. So we also do a lot of stuff with youth. So rangatahi, tamariki rangatahi, do a lot of work in that sort of space around entrepreneurship, because again, transitional pathways, being able to inspire a bit of self-employment opportunity through that as well. We have a mixture, so we have the entrepreneurs. So if I sort of umbrella everything, predominantly we're looking at, we cater to the entrepreneur or business owners. Then over and above that, the remaining 80% of what we do is surrounded by small to medium enterprises. So whether it's solopreneurs, or we have 2 and 3 man bands, we have regional corporate offices that are based here as well. So coming from a corporate of all these years and work, heading a regional office down here, I knew that as the regional footprint was shrinking, there was going to be huge demand to have facilities that corporates could just walk into and just, because the luxury of spaces like this, for those that aren't familiar, it's an office ready to go. So it's an on-demand office. You bring the laptop, we supply everything else. Yeah. So we have.
Sorry.
No. So from an industry perspective, we have a varied range of industry sectors in here. So we've actually got New Zealand honey in here, which is awesome. So we get honey all the time. I'm a honey fan. I love it. So it's awesome. We have BLK Sportswear, which is another sports merchandising. We have software developers. So we've actually got a team of startup in here also who are currently building, I think I'm allowed to talk about it, for MPI, Ministry of Primary Industries, and the new fishing software that will help with quota management, and it's awesome.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, they're doing some stuff there. Logistics companies, life coaches, business coaches. We also run, actually, which is another differentiator. I'm big on wellbeing, so we have Wellbeing Wednesdays, and so we have massage therapists that come in and massage us. That's probably been more motivated by the fact I
Sounds like
we won't tell the rest of the world that. And yeah, we've got environmental planners, travel consultants.
Sounds great. I can see the opportunity for different businesses to come together and, just, cross-pollinate ideas or whatever. I was just thinking about the space itself, Heidi. Is it open plan, or are there individual offices? And I'm assuming there's like conference rooms or a space where you could... meeting rooms or space where you could hold bigger gatherings. Is it like that? Is it a bit of mix of everything?
Yeah, absolutely. So you may just see behind me, there's a kitchen just behind me. I'm sitting currently in one of our meeting rooms, which houses 4 to 5 different people. And then over the back here, you'll see basically what we call the Google furniture or even my Lego furniture. So everything that you see, we occupy 373 square metres of space.
It looks very funky.
Yeah, they call it the Google office of Dunedin, is what it keeps getting called. Yeah. It wasn't my intentions. All I was interested in was creating a really nice, bright and vibrant facility. So to get a Google name is quite cool. We have currently within a space, so we have the social zone. So the social zone can house up to about 40 different people at any given time, all at one time. And then we have 3 private office suites. We have a hibernation zone, so a little space that you can go in and meditate and do a bit of yoga or brainstorm.
Nice.
And then we have over just beyond us here, beyond the kitchen, is actually our boardroom facilities, and in that we've actually got a 65-inch tablet on steroids. I don't think you can see it from here, but it's super cool. It was a last minute procurement when I'd heard about it, and that's the last thing you want to tell someone like me, that's a really cool piece of technology that we could use in a space like this. So it's awesome. It's Android and PC based, but what I love about it is it's automagic, so we can just plug in presentations. It's all, I won't go into detail, but it's pretty cool. And then we have the ability with the events itself. We can host up to 165 people to here at any given time. So as I mentioned to you, we've done 55 already. There's more to come prior to year end. And so at any given time we can have up to, at max we're only allowed 160, and we've definitely just about pushed the boundaries on that at some but outside of that,
yeah, so hey, it looks really cool from what we can see in the background. Love the space. So in terms of where it is located within Dunedin, is it in the CBD or is it out a bit? And is there parking outside, and how close is it to other organisations and that sort of stuff?
So we're at 123 Vogel Street, on level 1 of 123 Vogel Street, which is a warehouse precinct. So we're just sitting on the city fringe.
Oh, nice.
So literally, we're literally sitting on the city fringe. So for me to walk into the Octagon from here is about 5 minutes. Parking's interesting. This warehouse precinct was, you'd probably call it more the undeveloped part of town. It's one of the oldest part of town, and they've just spent over the last 3 to 4 years the millions of dollars redeveloping it. So we're really lucky. So it's become kind of like the cool place to go. The parking now has become an issue with that because of the fact that with all this redevelopment and re-landscaping, we're losing a few car parks, and this has become so much more popular that parking is a diamond now. So it is, if you can get parking in Vogel Street, I mean, we've got parking and stuff outside, but it is a bit like, it is getting a bit touch and go. So for, I think historically people that used to work down here, because it wasn't so popular, could get a park easy. Now you're lucky. Yeah, you have to be here very early to get a car park.
So what has the reception been from other business people in Dunedin? Have you taken business away from other parts of Dunedin?
It's been really interesting. Obviously, it's been a 2-year campaign so far. You tend to think, I guess you could call us the disruptive people. the reality of it is that, and to be honest, we've been received really well. The support and love and the total I've had to be here has been amazing. Don't get me wrong, it has been a really tough, it's been really difficult at times, but I think predominantly the city's embracing us. The council's getting in right behind us as well now. I think we're one of the last centres to get a space like this, and I guess it's that whole sort of mindset change of, so what does this all mean?
Yeah.
And I think probably predominantly the biggest thing is it's providing businesses with the flexibility in their working environment, so it's helping those digital nomads or those remote workers, have a space that if they don't want to be at home and being distracted by the housework, they can pop into a space like this. So from a solopreneur perspective, obviously they're going awesome. But again, still familiarising themselves with that whole, I was just talking to a young guy about it this morning, about the imposter syndrome. So, people sort of coming, not knowing how to break the ice and come into an environment like this. I think from a business side of things, I guess it's horses for courses. So it's if you like the flavour, you'll come in. So, going back to your point earlier about what makes us different is, creating a vibe that businesses will resonate with. From a corporate perspective, I'm working with a number of corporates at the moment who are dying to move into this sort of space, because obviously it is all state of the art. It is all very reasonably corporate, but really, really funky. And the fact we've got flexibility and easiness, it's great. From a property developer's perspective, I think they start to, from the feedback I've had a lot of support. The biggest thing from their side is that they love the concept. It's just the time and energy you'd need to be invested in something like this. So it's not like what I'd call a typical property development demand, where you've got the building, you set it all up, and you just rent it and go. You've got the maintenance side. From a co-working perspective, you're so much more heavily involved. It's like renting your house. So you've got, you've got to control who you get in, because as we all know, with a space like this, you do have to curate it, which is why I push everything back into our values around manaakitanga and whanaungianga, because if you don't resonate with them, then, obviously this isn't necessarily the facility for you. So it makes my job easier when we're looking at getting people in, and you tend to know who you're going to work well with as well. You can feel it's kind of that love at first sight. Things like, yeah, come on, we can hear. But predominantly the feedback's just been awesome. I think the other, one of the other positives is bringing people together.
Yeah.
So because it's an open source platform, people can, it's a marae, albeit it's a business marae, commercial marae, that people can just come in, and it's not just about targeting Maori, it's non-Maori as well, and bringing all those wonderful synergies together to share experience from the goods, the bads, and the uglies. Because as we all appreciate, it's the tough parts that we need to, get that support from. I mean, the successes are awesome, but those successes have often come from a lot of hardship. So
how did you go about marketing that? Because is that the first type of space in Dunedin? It's the first time it's been done, or not?
No, there was one just establishing before I opened. So we have another space up the road who I'm very good friends with. We work really closely together, who have done this. They sort of started about a year ahead of me, and again, it's not an overnight success. It is one of those things that's, you got to put every ounce of energy into making them work, because there's so many different facets of it. And then there is another space which was predominantly sort of set up as a means to an end. So it was a property developer that had spare room, and just said, we'll just rent this out, for to people to run it, as office space. So we are the third one to come in. And then we have a space down at the university, which is sponsored by the council of the university and the Polytech, and that's for students. So it's, for the students, the undergrads and the postgrads that are coming through. They've got it's called the Distiller.
So given that you've got some competition, how did you go about marketing your, the co-sharing office space?
Yeah, well, I'd say probably most of the effort's gone into the fact that I've spent years, I've been back in Dunedin now for the last 7 and a bit years. So in my previous role with Vodafone, I'd obviously established, I was heavily involved with the enterprise for the region. So I guess I spend a lot of that time building wonderful relationships. So for me, what it's really come down to, I guess the feedback that I get, it's because people, obviously just want to work with me. So it's predominantly that. So it's been a lot of networking, lots of coffees, lots and lots and lots of coffees.
So it's your relationships.
And it's all PR. So it has been a lot of, we do a lot of marketing online. I haven't gone crazy. We haven't even got branding up in the building here, except for this.
Love it.
Yeah. As you know, we've just recently launched those. But the one thing I wanted to, I guess, achieve with it is I did something a little bit bold, and I decided not to put signage up in the space because I wanted to get familiar with the space and settle into it before we started focusing on the branding, which probably seems a little bit crazy for some. But for me, it was getting the essence of the space up and running and getting it well before we started putting a letterbox on it, for lack of a better word. So, yeah.
Okay. So just so we get a sense of Heidi, are you able to give us what's a typical day for Heidi at work?
You want to go there? Well, no given day is the same. I'm one of these people, the more freedom you give me, the more trouble I'll create. So, and that's true. And if Mum's listening on the phone, she can totally support that. No, just kidding. For me, really, I'm really lucky. I've got the luxury now of running a business that I love. And I think going back to the point, I've chosen to follow something that I love doing. And, for me, the biggest thing is, going back to my school days is, being the chatterbox at school. I'm now able to run a business that allows me to socialise all the time. So predominantly, I want to plagiarise this, but my day will be lots of meetings, so lots of coffees, lots of gatherings. I do mentoring. I do a lot of keynote speaking as well now. But my days are kept fairly busy. I've been lucky bringing a new team on with me. I've had the ability to, I guess, download and delegate some of the stuff that's been in this head going, because it's a pretty busy mind.
So what's the size of your team, Heidi? How many sort of people have you got supporting you so you can do the things that you love to do?
I've got 3.
Nice.
I've got 3. And they're kept fairly busy. And I guess the funny part of it is when, I remember when Steve and I was talking about, Steve's my brother, Steve Renata, he was sort of saying, basically because, I'll get busier and busier and busier. And because of, I guess, my personality, I love helping all the time. So I love doing a lot of charity. But as we know in business, there's bits of charity and there's got to be commercial. So I guess the biggest part is over this last year, getting established, my focus has been, it's gone from being strategic, working on it, to working in it. And I'm sure anyone that's listening will appreciate the working in it is the hard yards. And it's something, I like it, but I don't love it. And it's not where I guess where I want to be focusing on is the fluffy stuff. So now that we're well established and we've got a wonderful team, I just feel very, very spoilt to have these 3 wonderful people joining my team who are just taking a lot of what I'd call responsibility and clutter out of my head. So they're organising my day, making sure I'm not double, triple booking stuff.
Nice. So did you have them from day one, or did you do some things? Because, with startups, often the person starting up does everything themselves. Or did you get them from day one?
No, this has been a solo journey right up until probably, or with exception to my bro Steve. So respectfully, because he's got his own businesses in Auckland. So he's been he's been a peripheral for me up until just recently. But he's now more heavily involved with the business. But again, he's in Auckland. He leaves me to run this day to day. So he's more of a, that lovely intuitive guidance thing from behind. But he's more heavily involved. It's predominantly been in the last 2 to 3 months that these guys have come on. So for me, it's been a year and a half of solo ambition. And comparative to a lot of these other ones, most of these businesses will actually it takes 2 founders to run 2 people to run something like this. So I've been doing this on my own for 18 months. If anyone asks how I got to this point, I have no idea. Call it fake it till I made it. I just had to keep going. I had to get going. So it's that's why I feel really lucky and rewarded now. It's kind of like all this effort, all this hard work sort of paying off. I've got wonderful people who share my vision and my values who are now supporting me and then taking it to the next level. So our focus right now is to polish everything that we've established, which feels good. And then we get to do cool things like get new T-shirts and do all that sort of stuff, which I've been wanting to do. So, yeah.
Sounds awesome. So what I'm hearing from you is a number of things. One, do something that you're really passionate about. Two, play to your strengths. Three, as soon as you can, get other people on board so that you can focus your energy on doing the things that you love, but also know that the rest of your business is being taken care of. Also, you brought the values from your Māori values into the business, which seems to be really attracting all sorts of people, not just Māori. So that's that kind of whānau friendly thing, and I can see the kitchen all the time, which is always a good thing. The kitchen's always the central place of any home. So I'm just hearing lots of wonderful things. What else do you provide? Because I do recall you talked about providing, it's not just businesses are not just coming in and renting a space, but you're also providing other services for those businesses in addition, correct?
Yeah, correct. So what we've also done is I'm a business mentor and coach. So this is a facility that's like business mentoring on steroids. So I always go back to the fact that we're not just a facility, we're a resource. Nice. We're a support mechanism. So I guess for a lot of startups, there's the accelerator model where you go in for 6 weeks and you're going to go from zero to hero. We all know 3% of those people are going to do really well and they're going to be the high growth. The remainder of us are basically slogging it all the way. Yeah. So one of the gaps that I saw in the market was actually providing a facility that meant that you had a mentor throughout your journey. Nice. And throughout your lifetime. So, people that move into the space, literally they're moving into a mentoring model or a mentoring community. So we're always going to, we run workshops as frequently as we can. So we get into a lot of behavioural stuff. We're just about, although I haven't announced this yet, so this will be the first announcement I made. We've just taken on a new marketing team, so Nudge Marketing, who are just amazeballs. They are moving into the space. They'll be my marketing engines. So going back to your point about our marketing strategy, we're bringing these guys in. They're just redeveloping our website as we speak. So I can't wait to open it up. It'll be bilingual as well, which will be the first.
Nice.
It's bilingual, and I'm learning a bit more through this whole process as well. So it's a fantastic. I'm really excited about it. And so we'll be providing that to our residents. And so basically, sales and marketing is one of the hardest things. It's my forte. So I'm lucky because for me, it's fairly natural for me to get into that space. But for most businesses, it's really difficult, albeit from a networking perspective, right through to, I've got this product and I'm really passionate about it, but how do I sell that to the rest of the world? And I think we do tend to go on with this romantic idea that everybody's going to fall in love with our idea. We're in a saturated market. We're in a highly competitive market. So how do we do that? So how do we get our product and service out there? So the luxury we do have is obviously working with myself and Steve, who's worked on the global stage. He's been amazing. He took Les Mills around the world in the 90s. But having that sort of facility, and then we'll also be offering product launches. So the facility will start being a product launch facility for businesses at all stages. So it's not just about startups. You could basically say we do all the fluffy stuff for you. So you're not just the bum on the seat. We're going to fluff you up, give you all the love and the massage if you want it.
Sounds fabulous. I think I might move to Dunedin.
Come on, Awhimai. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So I know you're still fairly young. Most businesses that start out, they don't actually make a profit for the first few years. I don't need to know the numbers, but I'm just, my question to you is, are you profitable yet?
We are nearly there. We are 18 months ahead of our competitors, which is awesome in every shape and form. Our growth rate is sitting at... we're sitting at about 15% monthly monthly increase every year. So every month, sorry. So every month our businesses is accelerating 15%, which is really good. So it's, for me, when I'm having direct conversations with my brother, he's a happy man, and he's the man I like to keep happy.
Yes,
and we have a fantastic relationship. But at the end of the day, he's put a lot of money into making this work and supporting me, and so it is really nice to get these results back and see our growth. It just keeps growing. Our bottom line just keeps growing and growing and growing.
So what's your occupancy rate? Is that what you call it, an occupancy rate?
Yep.
Yeah.
Our occupancy rate. Yep. So at the moment we're sitting at about 80% occupancy rate.
Wow.
So comparative to the market, most of these took 3 years to get to even to this point. So we're really lucky. We do, as we sort of say, we do sponsor spaces for people when I sort of see someone that I just really just think, these guys are shit hot, excuse my language, but we want to get them in, or I just love the energy, or we've got, I also believe in contra, so where there's the ability where we can contra services, because I think that's also another understated opportunity where people think, like, I need this, but I don't have the money. Sometimes it's just that gifting or that trading of services that works. So we do that. We offer that as an alternative for people that can't probably afford to pay rent, albeit, but they actually have a service that we need. So we can actually negotiate, and if it works, and we bring people in. But we're sitting at about 75% occupancy. Where we've had a real huge, wonderful surprise is the fact that our events, the demand for our events and our meeting rooms and boardrooms. Now, I hadn't in my business plan. We're now sitting well above. Well, for the year, I thought, we might do 12 events, but we haven't even hit our first 12 months, and we've already done 55.
Wow.
So I'm 500% ahead of the target on that. As far as our marketing and our meeting and boardroom hire is concerned, this is renting out all year. So I was lucky to actually I'd forgotten to book this morning. So luckily there isn't anyone actually using the facility this morning, but we've got, it's been a wonderful, opportunity that's come to light, knowing that we've got all of this in demand. And it wasn't something that I'd done a lot of research in, to be fair. So this is an understated part of our revenue channel that has been a little, wonderful surprise.
Nice. So where to for you in the future? Do you see yourself establishing these hubs around Aotearoa or not?
Yeah, well, at the moment, I'm going to say we are looking at succession planning. So to give you an idea, my first month of trade, I had 3 offers to franchise this within the first month.
Wow.
The old Heidi would have been like, hell yeah, let's go and do it. I'm like a bull at the gate. We can do anything,
Yeah.
So I start this on nothing, I'll finish it, I'll just keep going. But the more seasoned Heidi realised, it's like, what, the one thing with a business like this is you can't afford to get it wrong, because it's a lot of money that gets invested into spaces like this. Like, I take my hat off to any developer or any co-working founder that gets involved, because there's a lot of, as you can imagine, commercial real estate, it is a challenging market. So you are invested. If you're not the owner of the building, if it's not freehold or anything else, that financial risk is high. So there's that. But over and above that, the ability to curate the space and found all these wonderful, spaces, it takes, I'd have to say, it takes a certain person. And one of the things that we had, I do a lot of work with other centres, and the same feedback I keep getting is, how do we replicate a Heidi? Because we need another Heidi running these spaces, and that's difficult. The only thing I can probably achieve through doing that is bringing the right people on the journey with me, so I feel lucky that that's happening. We are building a plan, because we work 5 years in advance. So Steve and I are already well and truly looking at opportunities to license out or to franchise. So in the event, and he's very, very specialised in the franchising stuff, if we decide to do that. Alternatively, if we just have direct, they're all owned direct, Innovate HQs around the country and even offshore. I've had someone come to me from offshore saying, can we have one of your spaces in France?
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't mind. I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it.
And set it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like on. But so yeah, for me, really, for Steve and I, for the next up until the end of our next financial year, the biggest focus would be getting this into a fantastic, well-oiled machine. Obviously, we're turning a profit, and we're so close. It's not funny, which is really exciting. But then, next year we'll look at potentially. We want to fill this up as much as we can, so get this well-oiled, and then potentially in 2018 consider the opportunity to expand.
That sounds like a sensible plan. I think from my observation, a lot of people try to grow too soon, too fast. So yeah, sounds like a great plan. So yeah, I was going to ask you where to from here, but you have already kind of indicated to us where to from here.
Yeah, I'm also getting heavily involved, which is another reason it's lovely having a supportive network. Is a lot of keynotes. I'm doing a lot of public events as well, so traveling, going to start traveling a lot with that sort of stuff and just sharing. Over and above this, I think probably the biggest thing is, if I can be of any support to anyone, but for Wahine anyway, I think it's wonderful, and for you, Awhimai, I tautoko you, because to build a network like this, it's so important, it's so powerful. So, congratulations on being able to pull off something like this, because it is really special. And knowing that there's support mechanisms all around, and thanks to technology for connecting, creating these opportunities, we're now able to, sit with people in their living rooms and feel like we're being listened to, and we've got people that actually understand our journey. So, but I also, highly recommend, for those watching, happy to chat, or at any given stage. I'm pretty public. I'm the only Heidi Renata in the world.
Hey, that's pretty special.
You can usually find me online. Innovate HQ Dunedin's our Facebook page. Cool. I've also got Heidi Renata Consulting on there as well. InnovateHQ.com is our website, which is just currently being revamped. But if there's anything I can do to help or provide insight, the goods, the bads, and the uglies, and I'm really fine on talking about the uglies, or as we call it, the BMWs, which is a bitch, moan and wine session. So we do have bitch, moan and wine sessions.
Hey, I love that. BMW, bitch, moan and wine sessions. Love it. I love hearing what you're doing, Heidi. It really resonates with me. I'm doing something similar, but I'm creating an online hub. But I just love, I know that sometimes the face-to-face, the casual around the water cooler, coffee room, kitchen thing, lots of stuff happens when you have those opportunities, when you come together. So it's really cool. So for Wahine Māori thinking about starting out, you got some key tips you would give it? 3 key tips.
3 key tips. What's that? Yes, there's 3. Do what you love. So if you're going to get into one, say again.
You can have more tips if you want, up to 5. How's that?
Well, don't encourage me. We'll be here all day. But no, probably the first thing is do what you love. Cool. Life's too short, and when you love something, you put more effort into it. And the thing is that when you love something, you tend to attract people that love that too. Yes. So again, it's having that, making sure you stay true to who you are and what you're going to do, and then by doing that, you just automatically create the circle of friends who are after the same, ambition. The biggest thing, like anything as well, is it's one thing to have an idea and it's another thing to execute on that idea. So for a lot of people, it's I've always thought, just do it. What have you got to lose? Yeah, I think, failure's, everyone looks at failure as it is scary, and don't get me wrong, no one enjoys the thing, but if you can actually have a different approach to it, so it's like the first attempt in learning to fail, F-A-I-L, first attempt in learning. If you look at that from that sort of perspective, I think it just comes with a nicer thing, because we're not always going to get it right. It's like learning how to ride a bike. Yeah, it's like we're learning how to walk. I mean, we've just got to take the first step. So that would be the one thing, is turn your idea into an action and just start doing something that makes that a reality. Third and foremost, I think what it really comes down to, so we've got the love, we've got the execution, and then we've got the support networks. So I guess going through stuff like this, it gets quite interesting when you're starting to become quite ambitious. You know, you're going to get these negative comments that will come in. You'll get the people that are going, oh, is this really what you're supposed to be doing? You know, really, is that the right idea? If you feel good about it, you keep bloody going.
Awesome.
You keep going.
Hey.
Yeah.
Been really helpful for me, making me think about my own journey. And you're absolutely right. If you do something that you love and you're passionate about, you will attract people, which, you know, I've done through my Facebook and stuff like that. So it's really cool. Other thing I learned from you too today, Heidi, is I've been putting off for a while getting an assistant on board that has technical skills. I don't know why. No, I do know why. Because I wanted to have a lifestyle business. I don't want to be managing a team of people, but I'm recognising, listening to you and recognising that I actually do need some help to do some of the small technical stuff so I can focus on, you know, I'm similar to you. I love talking about what I'm doing and that sort of stuff. So yeah, you've given me lots of food for thought. I love your first attempt in learning, FAIL. I thought that was really cool. So well, let's start again. Have passion for what you want to do. Just take action, execute. And actually, I say that to women who ask me, I'm interested in going into business. What do I do? I said, just start. Just make a start. Yeah, yep. Yeah, because the way will be shown, I believe, for you. And we even tell you if you're not doing the right thing, because you'll get feedback. And the third thing was have a good support network. Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And then even just going back to your point about, you know, just getting started. How I got started with this, and this is a true story. I got pissed off. That's yeah. I was part of a digital forum, a digital strategy forum, and we were sitting in a room, a forum, which was, you know, all that happened was a succession plan for the city, and everyone started arguing. I was like, seriously, what the hell is this? You know, and so I got home that night, and trust me, when anyone asked how did you get to this point, I got the first thing I'll say is I got really pissed off. So if you want to get something out of me, piss me off, because I turn into the mongrel and everything starts happening, which is great. The warrior princess starts coming out, and but really what it came down to was it was as little as basically sitting down one night and writing down exactly what I wanted. So I come out of this forum and I was like, man, this is shut. You know what? There's got to be something better than this. And in my head, I'm sitting here going, why aren't we educating people on what's happening? Like, we're worried about building smart cities, but we're not talking about building smart communities. You know, so I got home and I thought, how can I build a smart community? So I'm sitting and I wrote this one page down. You know, I got home, I downloaded to my partner. I was like, man, I've come out of this and I feel really despondent, really discouraged and unmotivated. And I'm like, how can I make a change? So I did, and I wrote a one-pager. Had never written a business plan in all my years of working in business. Never written a business, not a real one anyway, as such. It was just basically like a scribe, wrote it down. Yeah, and I sent it through to Steve and I said, hey, bro, check this out. I had a really interesting situation today, and this is what I want to do. And that's how it started. And it was through that. And just by writing it down and sharing with someone, suddenly everything starts activating.
That is powerful. That is powerful. Writing your idea down and sharing it. Something happens when you do that, doesn't it? Hey, another similarity, I started this because I was pissed off too about an organisation that I worked for, because I was all about empowering wahine, empowering women, and they were just a bit set in their ways. And so, you know, I left there and I thought, bugger this, I'm going to do this on my own. So I had all these ideas that were probably before the time for the organisation. So that's how I got started. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it is. And it's a true story. Was how did you get to this point? I said I got pissed off. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, truly. I mean, look, you're thinking about your passion. When you're pissed off about something, it's usually because you're really passionate about it. And I've just thought about this as we're talking now. But it's true. It's, you know, what gets you really fired up. And if whatever fires you up, jump on that. Yeah. And find a resolve or find a solution, because it's when you notice that whenever you've got something that you're passionate about, if you get, I'm not saying angry, but if you get frustrated, you know that in the background there's a deep source that's saying, you know, you want to, there's a change that needs to happen, or you want to, and so be the change.
Absolutely. You actually seen a problem that you know you can provide the solution to. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Absolutely.
Hey, Heidi, thanks. Hey, we've been going for like 50 minutes. This is really awesome. Thank you. Is there anything you want to share before we wind up? Is there anything you want to share with the audience today? Anything coming up that they might be interested in? Yeah, it's your time.
Yes. Sure. Well, no, I mean, other than the fact that I'll probably just say thank you for listening. I hope that whoever's listening out there has found some valuable feedback. Listen, we're all in this together. I think the biggest thing is the lucky thing about the wahine mentality, the mana wahine, is that we're in this as a team. We all experience the same thing. So it's, and if you can, again, get a network that can just back you up, that can have your back, and you can share the goods, the bads, and the uglies with, or you can have that bitch, moan, and whine, and do that. I totally invite you all to, to connect in with me at any given time. I'm fairly active on social media, so Innovate HQ Dunedin, I'm on that frequently. I've got a marketing team that's going to be looking after that, but I sit across everything. Alternatively, you can email me at info@innovatehq.com, so that's INNOV8HQ.com. And other than all my phones, you can find me online. Obviously I've got a mobile phone that people can text or message me on, text or call me on anyway. So I'm available if and when needed. And I tautoko everybody that's involved with this. Power to the wahine, and there's wonderful opportunities ahead for Maori. And one thing is, we are running lots of different things. We're looking to have a whakahohe rangatahi event coming up in September. We're just determining. It's actually September now. What am I talking about? Hello. September. Happy Spring Day. We are focusing on doing stuff with rangatahi. So we do a lot of work. I do a lot of mentoring with tamariki and rangatahi. So I actually have an Activate Youth Tribe who sit as my little directors in the business, and they keep me young and youthful. So again, it's all around that cross-pollination. As far as events are concerned, I'm part of TEDx Dunedin event as well. So if anyone's in town, Dunedin on the 9th, next weekend, we've got TEDx, wonderful cohort of speakers coming in for that. And then obviously we celebrate our first birthday, and we will start doing product launches later in the year. No, we'll probably do that in FY18. So other than that, and I'm just trying to think of anything else at the top of my head.
Have you got room for anything else? I was going to say to you, that'll be great to do something together. And one of the things I'm thinking about doing is putting a mastermind group together online. So maybe we could talk about doing something like that. The other thing too that we discussed and hasn't been confirmed, but I've got the iWahine Leadership Hui in Wellington this year in October. So maybe we might look at doing it in Dunedin next year. Something to think about anyway. So
we'll love to. Well, you got a space. You don't have to worry about finding facilities. We got it all here.
Yes.
So
awesome.
Yeah. We'd love to have you down here.
Thank you very much for today. There's been lots of pearls of wisdom. Love your energy. I think you're right. That's really important. And just, really, ngā mihi nui kia koe, Heidi, for today. Hei kona.
Oh, kia ora. And thank you for your time. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Ka kite.
Ka kite.